You guys ready to go out here, catch your first bass, man? You guys stay tuned. Gonna give you guys all the tips, everything necessary you guys need to come out here and conquer any body of water you step on. It's probably one of the best baits, one of the best setups ever made. From a beginner angler all the way up to the pro anglers, they use the same setup, same rig. So I'm gonna teach you guys everything I've learned about it, and you'll be able to use it to your benefit. Go out there and crush it, man. All right, guys, we're gonna sit here and rig up one of the best bait setups, rod reel setups that you could possibly have. I don't care if you're a pro, amateur, it doesn't matter. This thing catches fish, period. All right, so first things first is your rod and reel. This right here is called a spinning setup, right? Now you can literally go to Walmart, get these things for super cheap, already combo, already ready together. These are actually two separate things that I bought separately, two different brands. Again, at this point, brand's not your biggest concern right now. Or you can go to your grandpa's house, back in his shed somewhere, might find a spinning setup. But you want to get you one of these, okay? This one right here in particular is a 7'2" medium moderate rod. So with the 2500 series spinning reel, all it is a little smaller spinning reel compared to like a super huge like saltwater type ordeal. You're not looking for that. Now, one of the most important things on this is the line that you choose. All right, so if you go get it from grandpa's backyard or shed or garage, and that line look like it can pull a truck, you don't want to use that, okay? So this right here in particular is 15-pound braid up to a fluorocarbon, 12-pound fluorocarbon leader. Again, I don't want to get super technical. If you had just straight fluorocarbon line, again, you can buy that at Walmart. Look for 12-pound. 12-pound to be a sweet spot. Some guys might try to do a 15-pound line for this application. Some guys might go lower, 8 and 10. If you got super clear water, totally understandable. But I like to run 12-pound line. I've been using 12-pound line for years. If you guys want me to do a separate video of how to tie braid to leader, leave me a comment down below. I'll do that video, no problem. All right, guys, this right here is called the Wacky Rig. This, again, I don't care if you're a pro, amateur, it does not matter. All the way up to the pro level, guys are still winning tournaments on this exact setup right here. Quick side note, if your water's rather clear, you can use something like this, like a green pumpkin color, that's gonna do you just fine. Or if your water is stained, we just got big rains where I'm at here. So our water is kind of that muddy brownish color, just a little bit. So I'm gonna probably switch up to a black and blue once I get you guys to the demonstration video. But I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to rig this thing up. All right, so the only thing more important than the bait itself is actually the knot, okay? You can't catch a fish if you can't tie a good knot, okay? If we're not tying like, shoestring knots or whatever, not like that. It gets a little more important than tying your shoe, okay? That sounds kind of hard to see with like real hook and line. Again, taking that little line there, put it through the eye of the hook. Okay, that's what we got here. That's all we got. Main line right here. So I usually like to lay my hook or my bait and hook in my left hand, right? So we got main line hanging here, all the way up to the rod, and you got your tag in right here, okay? That's all we got, nothing special. So what I'm gonna do, again, wrap that, make a single motion to create my own hoop, pinch all three lines together. Pinch it all together, right? So now I got me a nice little circle here and my main line. And all we're doing, like I said, you're taking that tag in line, you're wrapping it through the hoop, you're connecting this main line to this hoop that you created. Okay, connecting the main line to the hoop that you created. Okay, so that's why I'll hold it like this, I put it together in my hand and do about 7 or 8 turns in there. All right, so at this point, you'll start to get your line coming together like this. I usually wet it a little bit, just a little bit. Just a little wetness from your saliva there. Pull it up a little bit. Like I say, you grab your main line, grab my main line. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but once I start pulling that main line, that knot cinches down. Okay, very, very small, very strong knot. Then you cut off that tag in there, bam. Okay, last but not least, guys, we're gonna be actually putting the bait on the hook. Okay, that was a struggle trying to get that knot recorded. So you get your little tool like this. You can call a Wacky Rig tool, O-ring tool. I'll leave all the links down below, anything I'll use in this video. My pliers that I use to cut the line, you name it, man. I got a bunch of little stuff that I can't go without when I come pond fishing or even on my boat, and you never know. All right, with this little O-ring tool, I'm gonna slide your little worm in there, okay? I'm using about a 5-inch worm. And with that tool, it'll have a little O-ring sitting back here. You slide one up, usually go about midway up on my bait, okay? And you'll get a feel for what's the right section to put it in, because once you put the hook in, you want it to be nice and even so that bait can be worked like this. Okay, so this seems like a good little spot. O-ring sits right about there. And I'm going to black, like I said, I got a little stained water out here. Like I was saying earlier, black would do good and some stained. If it's not as stained, you can use a green pumpkin, but if it gets too stained, go ahead and switch over to black and blue. Can't go wrong with that. All right, so once you got your O-ring on, some guys will tell you to dig that hook into that bait. In my experience, putting the hook just on the O-ring itself has been killer for me. I don't lose as many baits. Like I said, I'll leave the links to all this stuff down below. What I got here, a little weed guard, just in case you throw it beside a tree or something like that. But with this setup right here, I don't lose many bait. The fish eats it. This bait will slide up the line and actually be saved. You don't want to go through, you know, bags and bags of plastic. So that's how I rig my Wacky Rig. So just a little 2-aught Wacky Rig hook. All right, so let's get to fishing this thing, man. So once you got your bait already, make sure you always check your drag. Make sure it's not super loose. You want a nice little snug drag there, not crazy tight, not crazy loose. You'll eventually learn your happy medium. I have a link up top if you guys want to check out any of my casting tips. I always tell folks, number 1, grab the line. Number 2, flip the bell. And once you're throwing out there, you're finishing pointing that direction you want to go to. So all I'm doing here is allowing that bait to do all the work. Like I showed you, that bait, that Wacky Rig is going to sit there and dangle, is going to flex in the water as you hop your rod like this. So all I'm doing is reeling up my slack, so I'm not having a super bowed line. That line's semi-tight. And all I'm going to do is wiggle, 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 let it sink, reel up the slack. Wiggle, 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 let it sink, reel up the slack. That's it. This thing doesn't have to be worked super fast or anything like that. It is an absolute killer bait. Again, I don't care where you're at across the country, that thing gets ate. I don't care if it's super pressured water, they just eat it. Now, normally I like to target, like right now I just threw over towards that tree back on that corner there. Do a little wiggle, see if everything grabbed it just now. But reel up that slack, get that line semi-tight. A couple wiggles, that's all I'm doing. Fish like to be near items, near structure, near laydowns, fallen, you know, lily pads, fallen trees, you name it. And every so often you'll have to, you know, move locations. You don't want to stay in a spot too long. And what I mean by too long, depends on where you're at, man. If you got a smaller area, this is about a 3-acre pond here. But if you got a smaller area, you might have to, you know, work an area a little bit more. But I got a lot of ground to cover, a lot of water to cover. So I give it about, you know, maybe 5 minutes, 10 minutes in one section, you know, pick it apart, hit it from a different angle. Any points, any little pockets inside of this stuff, trees hanging out. So I got a lot to cover. Yanked him a little too hard. The first little fish on there. Try to catch you guys a little bigger fish, but hey, if you want to get on your first fish, man, this is how you do it. Again, it don't matter if you're in a river, lake, does not matter at all. You guys make sure you take care of your bass, man. Catch and release. If you plan on keeping them, make sure you know your rules and regulations for your state. Bass can only live out of water for about 2 minutes, so be careful with keeping them out too long. And they have a slime coat, so if you bring them out on the bank and rub them all around the ground, they could lose their slime coat. It's like losing human skin. So they could die after that point. And once they get back in the water, it exposes them to bacteria. Getting a little technical, but we want to keep this sport of bass fishing going, man, for the next generation coming up. So keep your fish out for 2 seconds, take a picture, toss him back, good to go. All right, well, most guys choose this time of year to go fishing. I totally get it, you know, good weather and everything like that. But I really like going early in the morning when it comes, you know, comes summertime. And honestly, the best time to fish ever is the spring. Okay, that's when the bigs come out. But if you're just starting just now, it's not a problem. Fall is a good time to fish too. Any time of year is a good time to fish, period. Get out there, man, have fun. Make sure you guys are doing it legally, of course. But hope you guys enjoyed the content today. Check out this playlist right here. All videos about, you know, for beginner bass fishermen. Bunch of great tips in there. Give me a comment down below. You guys got any questions, man? Subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate the support. See you guys in the next one.